Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on November 19th, 2011. This is episode 823. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Ford, featuring available Sync with My Ford Touch. Sync with My Ford Touch gets you to your destination with integrated turn-by-turn directions and directional arrows displayed on the screen. Check it out in the new 2012 Ford Focus and at Ford.com/technology. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, and it's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, and fire. Fire. Yes, here it is, the Kindle Fire. 8888 Ask Leo is the number if you want to talk about tech. Talk about gadgets a lot these days. You know, I didn't like being a gadget guy in the early days. I thought, gadgets, I'm serious. I'm a computer guy. I talk about computers. You know, that's the serious stuff, the real stuff, the stuff that's changing the world. And then you know, gadgets turned from little, you know, trinkets into actually computers, pretty serious computers. And when I look at something like the Kindle Fire, I'm just kind of, well, on the one hand, I go, yeah, well, big deal. There's another tablet, yet another tablet. And then the other hand, I look at it and I go, that's kind of amazing if you think about it. For $199, that's the price of the new Kindle Fire tablet. You're getting a color screen that looks good, is able to play movies and TV shows that you watch, you know, without it's like a David Copperfield act. No wires attached to the thing. Uses Wi-Fi, not 3G, but that's, you know. And then books within, you know, 30 seconds. I can get any book in the Kindle library, which is hundreds of thousands of books for, you know, not much money. Magazines, newspapers, delivered automatically. The more you play with this, the more you look at it, the more you think, well, you know, that's kind of a remarkable thing. And we take it for granted now, don't we? It isn't an iPad. You know, I mean, everybody, I think, compares this to the iPad. Now, the iPad's $300, at least $300 more. But then there's things missing. There's no GPS. There's no Bluetooth. You're not going to use it in some of the ways you use an iPad. There's no iMovie, no GarageBand, no camera even. But for many people who use an iPad to do a little, you know, light surfing, because there's a browser in there, a little light email. There's a good email client. You can get better. Calendar, contacts. You can't make a phone call. You can't even, I don't think Skype's even available on this. Well, it wouldn't, you know, be kind of hard to do. I don't think there's a microphone. There's an headphone. But for watching movies, TV, Netflix is on it. Amazon's on it, you know, obviously. For playing games, you know, Plants vs. Zombies, Angry Birds, Words with Friends, Bejeweled, all that stuff's on there. And it plays it quite well. I think for $200, this is a pretty remarkable deal. I suspect you know, Amazon's predicting they're going to sell 5 million of them this year for the holidays. I think they're not far off. I think it's actually a pretty impressive little device. I didn't expect to think so highly of it. In fact, you've probably heard me say there's no other tablet. Just get an iPad, get an iPad, get an iPad. And I think for somebody who's expecting to do all the things the iPad has made famous, like GarageBand and, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff the iPad will do. It's a great GPS device that this won't do. But it's $200, and it does so many things, and it's really kind of amazing. It's Knox Harrington in our chat room. We have a great chat room. I'll tell you how to get there in a second. But Knox Harrington in our chat room saying, well, it's a consumption device. You know, it's funny. I said, that's true, yes. And that's, well, you have a keyboard, and, you know, I put Evernote on there, which is a note-taking app, and I can take notes on it. It's got just as good a keyboard. In fact, some ways easier to type on than the iPad because of its form factor. It's 7 inches, 16 by 9, so it's a wide screen, 7 inches. And the width is just right for me to type on with my thumbs. So that's kind of, to me, 7 inches is better than the iPad's 10-inch screen because I can type on it with my thumbs, and I type it quite accurately. So, yeah, I mean, you're not going to edit video. You're not going to take movies and make music like with GarageBand. There's no synthesizer apps. There's tons of music apps on the iPad. But I wouldn't say it's completely not a content consumption device and the creation device. And the funny thing is I said the same thing about the iPad when it came out. Oh, this is not a creation. If you want to create content, you need a computer. And people have kind of been surprised me with the range of things that they've created on the iPad. This even less a content creation device. Yes, it's a consumption device, but it's an impressive one. And I know we've seen some lukewarm reviews, quite a few. David Pogue in the New York Times, who is admittedly a giant iPad fan, said, "Oh, this thing's terrible. You know, it's slow." Yeah, I don't find it slow. I'm not sure what. Maybe he was using pre-release. You know, sometimes these big journalists, the big guys, get hardware ahead of time so that they can do a review on day and date, and that's what David did, I'm sure. So he might have had a slower pre-production version. This production version that I got, which arrived, is excellent, snappy. Feels great. I'm impressed. And I have to say, this is the first Android tablet I've thought was worth it. It's based on Android, but you'd never know that. You can't get any of the Google apps. Don't come on it. Maps and Gmail and Google Voice. They don't come on it. You have to use the Amazon App Store to buy apps, and they have a much more restricted list of apps in there. Probably appropriately, because when you buy an app, you know it's going to work nicely on the Kindle. It's designed for the Kindle. So Amazon doesn't even say the word Google. Just Google search on the web browser, but you could change that. It's not a Google device, not an Android device, but yet, I would say this is the nicest Android tablet out there. And for those who think 7 inches is too small or too big, I would take a look. When you compare it to the iPad, and Steve Jobs made this comparison. He said nobody wants a 7-inch device. He said the 7 inches is, you know, it sounds like it's close to 10 inches. It's not. He says it's half the size, half the screen. That's true. It's half the pixels of the iPad. But it fits in, you know, in a purse or a large pocket. A coat pocket fits fine. Screen maybe not quite as good as the iPad screen. Not optimized probably as much as the iPad is for the kinds of things it's doing. You know, Amazon didn't. It's a $200 device. Apple put a lot more thought and energy into the iPad than Amazon's put into the Kindle, I would guess. Nevertheless, I think not bad. I also got today, or actually yesterday, and I've been playing with it, the new Windows Phone 7.5. This is a Samsung Galaxy S from AT&T that's running Mango, which is the latest version of Windows Phone. And I'm playing with that. I like that too. You know, and so I guess what is happening here is these things aren't little G-Jaws and trinkets anymore. Gadgets are more than gadgets. These are pocket computers, and they are exciting, and they are good, and you have choice, which is, of course, very important. So let's talk about that. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you want to call me. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Outside the U.S., you can call Skype or some sort of VoIP thing to the toll-free number. It won't cost you anything. You can also go to our website, techguylabs.com, and that's where you'll find the chat room. I mentioned that earlier. Great chat room. Lots of fun. 681 people in there. There'll probably be close to 1,000 before we're done today. So it goes pretty fast, but it is heavily moderated, so it's safe and family-friendly, and I think a great place to get answers to your questions, and I watch the chat room the whole time, too. 8888 Ask Leo, techguylabs.com. That's the website. And we could talk about all of these things. There's more to talk. I mean, there's lots more to talk about. I love talking about the tech news, and I'm certainly willing to do that. Love to do that with you. But I'll answer your questions, too. Because I always say, oh, let's talk about this or that. And you know what? Mostly just people say, but my computer won't work. How come I can't print? Should I buy an iPhone? I'm waiting. You know, there's a couple of really good Android phones just came out. I'm waiting to see what this Google Android phone, the Nexus, what do they call it? The Samsung... I can't remember the name. I think it's the Samsung Nexus. They said it would be out any minute now, but there's still no word about that. Very curious. I didn't talk about the Nook tablet. I don't have one, so that's another thing. If you'd like to call me about that, I'd love to hear about that. The Nook tablet came out this week too, and we've ordered one. I just don't have it yet. and I think it's going to be comparable. But I just think if it's $50 more, they're pushing the fact that it's got a faster processor, twice the memory, twice the storage. I don't think people look at those specs anymore, do they? Does that matter to you? No, the $50 matters more, and the fact that it's Amazon. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Let's talk. This portion of the Tech Guy Show brought to you by our friends at Ford. You know, we talk about Ford Sync all the time, and I got to tell you that one of the most important parts of Sync, of course, and the My Ford Touch, is it gets you to your destination with turn-by-turn directions and directional arrows right on the screen. It's the best GPS I've ever used in any car. I have it in my Ford Mustang, and it's gotten better and better, and the new stuff is even better. And the 2012 Ford Focus, you can try it out or visit the website, ford.com/technology. We talk so much about how you can talk to the car and get to play music and, you know, set the temperature, and you got the Wi-Fi and you got the app link. But the most important part of having that screen is the GPS. And I tell you, I get in other cars and I get so frustrated by the GPS. And I use the GPS in my Mustang almost all the time. Anytime I'm going somewhere I haven't been before. In fact, it drives my kids crazy. They say, "Dad, you know how to get there." "No, I want to use the GPS." "Dad." But I tell you, it's the most efficient way to get where you're going, and it's just fantastic. One of the things I think is really nice, it's just a little feature, but it shows how an integrated GPS is better than, say, an aftermarket GPS. When, you know, my Mustang warns me when my fuel is down to 50 miles. Not how many gallons, but I've got 50 miles left. Puts a little light on and says, you know, get gas. The nav changes to show gas stations. They just, all the gas station icons just pop up, so that it's just a nice little reminder when I see the gas station icons. Oh, I need to get gas, and I know where one is. I can even use Ford Sync and the Sirius, the additional Sirius stuff. What is it called? Direct Link, something like that, to find not only gas stations but the lowest prices. They actually have gas station prices in there, all without having to take my hands off the wheel or my eyes off the road. There's also a nice feature. This is the Sync services in the newer Sync, which is, I don't have this yet. I'm going to get this in my new Ford Focus. Business search with 40 million businesses. It includes telephone numbers, so you can press a button and say, call them. Business information and directions. And a send to Sync feature means that when you're on your computer using Google Maps or MapQuest, you can say, hey, send that to my Sync. And when you get in the car, all of that stuff is there. There's also a free Sync Destinations app in the app stores on Android and Apple, which gives you mobile access to manage your Sync traffic directions and information systems account. So you have an account in the cloud that then talks to the car. You can also pre-save destinations to the car, to the account, and then to the car, home, office, that sort of thing. Traffic updates sent to your mobile phone via text message. It's all designed to help you get where you're going without taking your hands off the wheel and your eyes off the road. They keep making it better. Ford Sync with My Ford Touch. It's available on the 2012 Ford Focus. Or find out more at your Ford dealer. Drive one today. And go to Ford.com/technology for more information about all the technology. I'm absolutely sincere when I say this is the best in-car GPS I've ever used, and it sounds like they've made it better still. My next car is going to be a Ford Focus. I hope your next car will be a Ford. I think you'll be glad. Ford.com/technology. The Kindle Fire. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Kyle Benham, our musical director. Part of the game we play when we do this show is what, you know, when you hear the music as we come back, what does that have to do with what Leo was just talking about? That one's easy. They get harder. We make the first one easy. It's like any good game. First level's a snap. It's level 83 that gets tough. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. That's the phone number. We're going to talk about anything on your mind that has to do with technology. We'll start with our first call. Jasper, Georgia. Scott is on the line. Hi, Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How you doing today?
Very well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I'm a new Mac user. Came over from Windows just recently,
All right.
and I'm having an issue with, well, first of all, I should tell you, I'm a blind computer user, and I'm having an issue with on my keyboard the F keys, which I need. A blind user uses them extensively. They seem to be performing hardware functions as opposed to software functions.
That's right, but that's switchable in the system preferences.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but I can't seem to find it on mine.
They're hiding it from you, huh?
Okay.
Sons of guns, how dare they? So go to System Preferences, Keyboard, and in the keyboard there'll be a checkbox that's in the keyboard system preference pane. There'll be a checkbox that says use all F1, F2, etc. keys as standard function keys.
Yes, I've seen that, but I've just switched keyboards because I was using a Windows keyboard, and I just purchased a wonderful Logitech Solar keyboard for my Mac, and now I can't seem to find that checkbox.
Well, yeah, you probably now, because you're using the Logitech, you can't use the Mac system preference pane anymore. You got to use a Logitech system preference pane.
Oh, okay.
That might be my guess. They offer their own system preferences. Whenever you get a Logitech device, you get additional drivers. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Apple's a little funny that way. Oh, use our keyboard. We'll give you all the functionality you want. Use somebody else's. We can't be held responsible. So now you got to count on Logitech giving you that number, that checkbox. But I can't imagine that they wouldn't. So yeah, they may have disabled it in the Apple system preferences. See if you've got a keyboard driver. Sometimes you have to go to Logitech's site to find those, and see if they can. They have the same checkbox. I think they must. Braden in Lexington, Mass. Hey, Braden, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey.
I've been having a problem with my computer. It's not really, I mean, it's just a nuisance. I have I have two My Documents folders in my user directory, and then within the one My Documents folder that I'm allowed to go into, the other one gives me an error. There's there's doubles of my music, my pictures, and my videos folder that I can't access. Yeah, and I always accidentally click on one, it gives me an error, and it's really annoying.
You're using Windows 7?
Yeah, 32-bit.
32-bit Windows 7.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, one of those might be a library. Look, so are you open the Windows Explorer? You know what that is? Not Internet Explorer.
I'm in Windows Explorer right now.
And you see there's on the left there's libraries, and documents will be there. That's not actually a folder. That's a library.
So this didn't used to be this way, or is this just a normal thing?
Yes, this is the new wonderful thing that they give you in Windows. You sound frustrated.
And I click on them, and it says not accessible.
Well, that's bizarre. Can you delete it?
When I right-click it, I can click the properties, and it doesn't give me any information other than file folder and when it was created in March a year ago. But can I delete it? I can't really click on it. It just gives me that error. Let's see.
Hey, chat room, any idea?
Yeah.
Any idea, chat room? I don't know. Obviously, something's gone wrong. Something's gone horribly wrong. And you know, the amazing thing is so many things can go wrong. But I don't know what it is that's gone wrong. It says, okay, Big Ginge has a suggestion. Big Ginge, who is a redhead from Great Britain, I'm guessing. His suggestion is that you've got make system folders and files visible checked. Hello?
You okay?
Yeah. So that's in the control panel. You want to turn that off. Hide system files, and then you won't see that other one.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying there? Big Ginger's done it again. He's an amazing man. Did that work?
I will try that later.
I think that'll work. I think he's got it. I think he's nailed it.
All right, cool. Could you discuss the full page ad that Google and those guys put out in the New York Times the other day about legal issues and I don't know.
SOPA. They're talking about SOPA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's internet censorship. Thursday was Internet Censorship Day, and I put on my Tech Guy site and on my personal site a big banner when you go there that said, "This page censored by Homeland Security." The federal government, actually Congress, we shouldn't blame the federal government, Congress, let's blame the branch that's responsible, has two different bills, one in front of the House of Representatives called SOPA, and one in front of the Senate called IP Protect. Both of them are bills that were proposed, I'm pretty sure, by the content industry. The content industry, the folks who make movies, TV, and music, hate you. They think you're, well, they know that we are all pirates, and that given half a chance, we'll rob them blind. And so they say, Congress, here's what we'd like you to do. Pass a bill that lets us shut down any site we don't like without due process whenever we want. It's called the Internet Blacklist. And big media and big content is pushing it. Now, of course, they spend a lot of money on congressional campaigns, so the senators are listening to them, but they need to listen to us. SOPA stands for Stop Online Piracy Act. Now, who would be in favor of online piracy? Except that's not what this bill does. It really threatens speech online. It hampers internet innovation. It turns us into China. You know, in China, they've got the Great Firewall of China, and the government, whenever they don't like a site like, let's say, Facebook, they just turn it off. Congress would like that. The legislation would grant the government, I'm reading from the EFF.org site. You can read this, too, if you go to EFF.org or wiredforchange.com. As drafted, the legislation would grant the government and this is important, private parties unprecedented power to interfere with the Internet's domain name system. That's the big phone book that the Internet uses to look up addresses. Whenever you enter in Yahoo.com, your Internet service provider, your computer first, and then your Internet service provider, go look up what number is Yahoo. What phone number? What Internet protocol number? That's done through a system called DNS. The government, if this bill passes, would be able to force Internet service providers and search engines to redirect or dump users' attempts to reach certain websites. Now, of course, the theory is, well, we would only block pirate sites, right? No. That's the problem. Read about it. Call your member of Congress, your Congress critter, and fight this one. It is a bad, bad idea, and everybody agrees. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scott Wilkinson is here. He is the the online editor of Home Theater Magazine, hometheater.com. Joins us. He's our home theater editor, and he's also the host of a great show called Home Theater Geeks, which you will see every single Monday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 Eastern Time on twit.tv, and after the fact, anytime you want to download it. Hello, Scotty.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me on Saturday. I'm down in San Diego. My wife's at a conference, and so I decided to come on today instead of tomorrow, just because here I am in a hotel room.
Why not? Why not? That's great. No, we're always glad to have you on Saturday. I forgot. I should explain, I guess, people who haven't heard you. Although I think you're going to be filling in for me in December.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. You're on vacation or going on a trip?
No, I'm going to France. We're doing our shows from Paris. How about that?
That sounds pretty good.
TWiT in Paris, we're calling it. It's the Le Web Conference, and we've been invited to broadcast from Le Web all week. Won't be able to. I don't think I'll be able to do the radio shows from Paris. I don't think they have radio in France. I may be wrong on that.
Well, I'm thrilled and pleased and happy and honored to fill in for you anytime.
Good. It'll be fun. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So December 10th and 11th, and we'll figure out. Are you doing the 11th or the 10th?
Well, I was asked to do the 10th, which I'm happy to do.
We'll say that for sure, and then maybe even the 11th, too.
Sure,
yeah.
Sure.
So you can have 3 hours of home theater on December 10th. That's actually just in time for holiday buying, although the big buying is a week from, it's actually
yesterday.
This Friday, a week from yesterday, Black Friday is coming.
Yep, exactly right.
They call it that because I found out, I read Wikipedia, that many retailers are in the red all year long, but the holiday season puts them back in the black, and especially the day after Thanksgiving in the States, where for some reason I'll never understand, everybody decides to shop at the same time. I guess it's your last kind of weekday holiday before Christmas or something. I don't know.
Something. I don't know.
So
anyway,
are there good – part of it is I think people have this notion that there are great deals on Black Friday, like you'll get a better price on Black Friday. Is that right?
It is. It is, in fact. I've been doing some research online, and as you know, there are a ton of websites that have Black Friday deals.
BlackFridayAds.com and
Yeah.
They aggregate deals from, because Walmart does it and Kmart and all the marts.
Sears and all the
Sears
marts, right?
Mart,
Best Buy. Now,
Mart.
I have to tell you that I found a site this year that I really, really like. It's called bfads.net.
Yes.
And the
yes.
reason I like it is that it aggregates in such a way that you can say, look for televisions, and it'll show you all the deals that they have in their database on televisions from all the different retailers. On most other sites, you have to say, well, what can I get from Best Buy, or what can I get from Sears? And you have to look at them separately.
This is everybody.
But this is everybody.
You do it by product.
Yeah, or category.
So I want an
you look
HD TV. Maybe can even say.
Yeah, click on categories in the right, and then you'll see a bunch of categories.
Oh, okay.
Come up in the middle.
I get it. Okay.
And then you click on televisions, and you'll see all the televisions.
Awesome.
So it's really good. So I took a look at that, and I looked at some of the ads and deals that are being represented there for this coming Friday. Found a couple of really good things. Let's see. At Best Buy, there's a Toshiba Blu-ray player for $40.
Wow.
Now this isn't a no-name Blu-ray player, like Insignia or Dynex or something like that. It's Toshiba, and they make a pretty good product. Let's see, LG.
Oh, we'll never know. He's frozen solid. LG what? We'll never know. bfads.net is the website Scott's talking about. I think we lost his, he was on Skype. I think we lost his Skype connection. Yes, we did. But I think the gist of it is that, and I'm doing it right now, that you can go on these sites. There are a lot of them, but this, I have to say, bfads.net is certainly one of the better ones. If you Google Black Friday, you'll find about 20 sites that specialize in this. And I went, and on the left there's a categories link, and I selected TVs, and then they sort them by price, which is pretty amazing, because you get TVs as low as, well, I don't know, $70 for an 18-inch monitor, $80 for 24 inches. I'm looking maybe for a 45-inch TV. Here's a Sharp 42 1080p at Best Buy for $200. So that's amazing. Of course, there's a price you pay for that. You got to brave crazy crowds. Scott Wilkinson, I'm sure he'll talk more about this tomorrow on Home Theater Geeks, and you can read him, of course, at hometheater.com, our home theater guy. Back to the phones we go. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number, and our next caller is line 4, and I'm not sure who that is. Is that Matt?
Yeah, Leo, it's Matt.
Hey, Matt from Speedway, Indiana.
Yes, right. Home in Indianapolis 500.
Oh, you're kidding. I always thought it was in Indianapolis, so there's a little town outside called Speedway.
Yeah, we're a little island just inside of Indianapolis.
Awesome. You're like the Vatican for race cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll see if we can get that one on a T-shirt.
Vatican City for race cars. So what can I do for you, Matt?
Well, my question was about the new Kindle Fire and the new Nook tablet that's coming out.
Yes.
Or that is out, I guess.
Yes, that's right.
I know it's not the iPad, but I've got 2 teenage daughters that don't need an iPad, but, just kind of baby step them into a tablet.
I think that and I talked about at the beginning of the show, I was very pleasantly surprised by the Kindle Fire. I've ordered a Nook tablet. I haven't seen it yet. It's $50 more, but I think that save your money and get, Amazon is kind of the premier product. Anyway, the only thing I'd worry about giving this to teenagers, make sure they don't have an Amazon account, because it's awfully easy to buy stuff on this thing.
Well, that was part of my concern, was about the parental controls on that, and I don't really hear hardly anybody talk about, sure, it's $199, but then are you required to get the Amazon Prime to get a lot of that content?
Ah, that's a good question.
The Kindle Fire.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Parental controls, I think, are none. Now, that's one thing that that's done very well on the iPad. They have very good parental controls. They kind of had to, because Apple got in a little bit of trouble because kids were buying stuff. They have these in-app purchases in games, and kids were buying fish and stuff for thousands of dollars. And Apple got a little bit of trouble. But I'm going to go up here to settings, but I do not believe there are any parental controls in Android at all. Let's see if they've added them. There's a corporate device administration capability that might give you some of that. But you're right. For this to be what it is, I think you want them to have access to Amazon to buy apps and so forth. And all of that's one click. All of that is, you don't even need to enter anything. You don't need a credit card. And I just bought an app without even thinking about it. I think that if that's your issue, the iPad is a better choice. The iPad has much better parental controls. On the other hand, for $200, you get 2 of these for less than one iPad.
Right. And what about the content? How do you control the content on the Kindle Fire as far as...
Well, the only way to control it was that they can't order anything, and you have to order it for them. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Nothing you could unplug, huh? How could that be? I'm the tech guy. I don't have thousands of plugs. Unplug something. I don't care. Not that. Oh. Ooh, look at that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Wow, that is cool. My friend Trey Ratcliffe is a wonderful photographer here. I'm going to unplug this and show you. He sent me, so he was at the last space shuttle launch. What was that? STS-90? What was the last space shuttle launch? I can't remember. Probably says so on the thing here. Anyway, he went there. He's been to a last few, and he took an amazing picture of the space shuttle. He's a great photographer. 135, STS-135. He's a great photographer, and took a beautiful picture of the shuttle at night, waiting the night before the launch, and reflected in the water at Cape Canaveral. Just gorgeous. And so I was very thrilled to get this signed print. But then I looked on the back, and it said it has a power plug, and it said backlit box, and backlit.com, and I thought, well, what the heck is that? The thing has a plug on the picture. So unfortunately, when I opened the box, I didn't look for a plug. When you get a picture, you go, oh, look, a painting. You don't look for a plug. So I must have thrown it out. So Tony Wang, one of my producers, great guy, contacted Backlit Box, and he got him to send him a plug. Now, watch this. Watch this. It's radio. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful picture. I mean, this is something you'd be glad to hang on your wall. But then I plug it in, and holy moly, it comes alive. It comes alive. It just glows. That is stunning. Wow. So thank you, Trey Ratcliffe. He's at stuckincustoms.com is his website. You could actually see this image and a lot of his other images there. And I guess thanks to Backlit, what is it? Backlitbox.com for sending me an extra plug. Because I can plug the picture in. I didn't know I had to do it. Now I know. Wow, is that pretty? Another gadget. See, what a world we live in. All right, let's see. Mark in Norwalk, Connecticut. Mark, you got a DVI connector but on your computer, but not on your monitor. What are you going to do? You must have an old analog monitor, huh, Mark?
I have a LCD monitor that has DVI in.
Oh, it does?
I just don't have I have an LCD TV that I'm also running. That doesn't have.
No, but I bet that has HDMI in, doesn't it?
Yeah, but is there a converter that I can switch from DVI to?
You don't need to. DVI and HDMI are essentially the same. They're electrically the same, so all you need is a different kind of plug. Now, I should tell you one little issue, which is audio, which is normally carried on HDMI, is not carried on DVI. It's just the digital video signal. So if you want to watch, if you want to hear the audio from your computer, you'll have to hook the audio up separately to that television. But no problem. They're cheap. You go to monoprice.com, and you could buy a DVI to HDMI converter. It's cheap because it's not doing anything. It's electrically the same. It's just changing the configuration from that, that whatever it is, 30-pin plug to that HDMI. It's looks like a USB plug.
Okay, yeah, because I had to run a DVI to VGA adapter plug.
That's different because VGA is analog.
Yeah,
and so that's
what I'm saying.
expensive.
I lost my digital.
Right, so that's expensive. Now, there is a catch, a little bit of a catch, which I don't think people know about. There's something called analog DVI, which doesn't make any sense because DVI stands for digital video interface, but there is analog DVI on some older computers, and in that case, you will need a converter to get to HDMI. The converters are what makes expensive. So that's the difference between an adapter and a converter. An adapter merely changes the plug configuration so you can, plug it in. And there's no electronics in there. It's just wires going to a different kind of connector. So it's cheap. Those shouldn't cost more than $10. Unfortunately, when you have to have a converter, that means I'm going to take an analog signal and I'm going to digitize it, and then I'm going to put it out as HDMI. Now we're talking well over $100, maybe $200. So you have two different choices. If you have a recent computer, that will be digital. In fact, I can't think of a computer in the last 5 years that's had analog digital video out. The only reason I even knew about it is I had a Mac that did. It was very confusing for a long time. I couldn't figure out, this is what? This is digital video interface. No, it's analog, Leo. It's analog. So monoprice.com, they have both of them. That's the website I use to buy connectors and stuff because it's always the lowest price. They're ridiculously cheap. You could spend so much on HDMI, and you shouldn't. Vince in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Vince.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
Very well. How are you?
Well, I was fine until this happened.
Oh, sure. It's always that way.
Yeah. We've got a Dish Network DVR that was upgraded to allow you to offload recordings onto a 2 terabyte external hard drive, where before it was just 750 gigs was the max.
Okay.
So we hooked up a 1.5 terabyte drive, moved everything over 2 years worth of recordings.
Uh-oh.
And then we checked the box, and half of them had disappeared. And some of them are disappearing even after they were moved on, and we looked at them. And they're just dropping off the external hard drive. And so we called Dish back and said, what's going on? And they tell us that this is a known software glitch, and they're working on it, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah, some glitch.
Yeah, some glitch. Thanks a lot. And they say, well, there's nothing you can do about it, which I don't believe. But we're trying to figure out a way to retrieve these. I'm assuming that they actually did move over onto the drive, and because it took a lot of time.
And you were able to play some of them. It sounds like what we don't know is why they're disappearing. You're right. Yeah. If they're merely disappearing because the catalog entry got erased or something, it just depends on why. If it got overwritten, they're gone.
Yeah, well, but we didn't do any more activity on the external drive, and that's what I was thinking, the catalog entry. The DVR formats the drive to Linux first, and I don't have a Linux computer, so I'd have to, but I'm assuming that anything I would do, I would have to try to access it through that. And, of course, they encrypt it for their copy protection.
Then you're really probably out of luck.
Well, what about, I'm trying to think of...
How desperate are you to get these TV shows?
Well, it's not just TV shows. The trouble is it's certain recordings, like my friend watched, would watch NASA TV like all day and catch a really great shot of some, sunrise over the planet or something like that.
Vince, I think you probably lost these. Your only hope would be to take the drive out. You'd put it in, so I know you could do that, and take it to some computer shop where they know about Linux. Because now you've got to use an appropriate Linux tool to recover it. And the recovery needs to be done at the file system level. Not, it's not like you've got a hard drive crash, something like SpinRite could fix that. This is the software has deleted the file. So you need a Linux-based recovery tool that will unerase the file. Oh, yoy, caramba. If you could find an expert to do that, I would. I wouldn't even know where to start. You'd have to have a computer running Linux. Let's start right there. You can Google it, maybe. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More to come after the news. Actually, I like the Windows Phone okay, Shy Mike. It's just, it's missing a bunch of apps, so it's like, it's okay. I mean, I like the UI. It's very nice. It's more modern than the iPhone, that's for sure. Here we go. Well, here we are. Yes, once again to talk about tech. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. of A. Outside the U.S., you just call via Skype or some other voice over the internet. And since it's a toll-free number in the U.S., I don't think it costs you anything. 8888 Ask Leo. I've been talking at the beginning of last hour about the Kindle Fire and how much I like it, how great it is. We had a caller towards the end of the hour saying, well, I want to buy a tablet for my two girls, but I'm worried, and I think legitimately, that the Fire would be a bad choice because the Fire, you're logged into your Amazon account, and that means with one click, without a by your leave, you can buy stuff, apps, TV shows, movies. And if you've got, you don't have to turn on one click in the Amazon app, but if you've got one click turned on in the Amazon app, you could buy a powerboat with one click. I mean, there's nothing to stop you. Yeah, we'll have that in your step in 2 days, thanks to Amazon Prime. So I do think with the lack of parental controls, this is the Kindle Fire, as much as I like it. I mean, for $200, I think it is a great kid's tablet. But you probably want to disconnect the Amazon account. Otherwise, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. The iPad, much more wisely, I think, Apple's learned their lesson. Of course, they're in their second generation. They've been doing this for a couple of years now. Has very good parental controls. And one of the reasons they do is that they've got some parents very angry at them because of in-app purchases and kiddie games. I think the worst one was there was a Smurf game, right, where you could buy Smurf things. And kids, they don't know. Yeah, and they'd press a button, and people literally thousands and thousands of dollars that their 3-year-old bought of Smurf appurtenances. The reason is on the iPad initially, once you'd logged in, you'd stay logged in for a period of time. So mom and dad downloaded something, logged in, gave them the password, and then Junior got the tablet and bought 800 blue, mushrooms for $1,000. So in-app purchases are a problem, but in response to that, they shortened the amount of time that the login was good for. I think it's only 15 minutes now. And more importantly, you can block it in parental controls. And there actually are excellent parental controls on the iPad. So if it's a kid that you're given a tablet to and you do want to control purchases, it's too bad. And I bet you Amazon fixes this because, frankly, for a kid, I think the Kindle Fire is great. It's smaller, easier to handle. Does what kids want. It's got Netflix on it. It's got Amazon. It's got TV. It's got, it's a great games. It's got a great little set of stuff for kids, including a lot of beautiful color kids books in the Amazon Kindle store. Of course, the apps are, a little lacking because iPad's got, 250,000 or something. But it's got a lot of Android apps available for it, including a lot of the most popular Android apps. Angry Birds, Plants vs. Zombies, Words with Friends, all of that stuff, Bejeweled. I think this is, for $200, I think this is a great little tablet, but lack of parental controls might be a problem. I bet you Amazon builds that in the next edition. They could do a software update pretty quick. Until then, if you're worried about that kind of thing, the parental controls on the iPad are actually stellar. They're very, very good, and you might have to spend a little bit more money on the iPad. You got to think a little kid's not going to know the difference between an iPad and a Kindle. They're just going to go, oh, thank you, it's a tablet. But a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, don't give them an iPad. It's same thing happened with iPods. Mom and dad would cheap out and they'd buy the kid a Samsung Sansa instead of I want a music player. The kid knows what he wants. The kid says, I want a music player. He means, I want an iPod. Mom and dad get him a Samsung. Oh, that's the worst feeling. They pull that out of the stocking and they go, oh, yeah, thanks. And then they never use it. Oh. Or if the kid's more honest, what the heck is this? That's not what I wanted. I wanted an iPad. How dare you? Somebody's saying in the chat room, actually, this is not a bad idea. You don't have to give them a full-size iPad. For younger kids, maybe an iPod Touch is the perfect solution. It got all the same functionality, the same apps, same parental controls, but it's a lot less expensive. It's more on the order of maybe a little bit more than a Kindle Fire, but more on that order. It's smaller, but they can carry it in their pocket and so forth. So maybe the iPod Touch would be the best solution there. All right, we're going to move on to our next caller here, Richard in Alhambra, California. Hey, Richard, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, there you are.
There I is.
Yeah, wherever that is.
I'm in the magic ether of Radioland.
Oh, isn't that that interesting?
Yes.
In relation to your friend that gave you the photograph, images are nice, but sounds are better.
Ooh, yes. You got the sounds of these. The problem is you cannot reproduce the sound of the shuttle launching. It is a feeling, not a sound.
Well, there's vibration.
Yeah.
Anyway, in regard to what you're just talking about, Kindle and all that stuff, people that make these downloaded books and, for people that use their eyeballs, they refuse to set it up so a screen reader can be used. And what is that all about? People that are blind and visually impaired are voracious readers.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, okay, a couple of issues. On the Kindle, they did build in, and Amazon was very smart. They did build this feature in that you could buy any book on the Kindle, and the Kindle would read it to you. Not in a very good voice, in a robotic voice, but as good as JAWS or better, as good as any screen reader for the computer or better. But publishers, get this, and authors cried foul. And I think this is very disappointing. They said to Amazon, "You're undermining our audiobook rights. Stop it." And Amazon had no choice. I remember very well when Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, had to back down on this and said, "All right, we'll put a switch in. We don't want to. We did the right thing. We think there's a difference between an automated robotic voice reading it and an actor reading it. But the publishers have all the rights here." I think he could have stood up to him, but he decided not to. And put a switch in every book that says no audio version, no reading. And I agree with you, Richard. I think that's terrible. Because I don't think that the robotic voice that the Kindle reads in is any replacement for a real reader. I buy books on Audible, even though in many cases I could listen to the book on the Kindle. I want to hear the Audible version. I'd prefer that. So, but there's nothing much we can do about it. This is the publishers. What you should do is write a note to the publishers and the Authors Guild and say, knock it off.
Oh, a lot of things are like this. Sometimes websites aren't compatible with screen readers, too.
Well, and often that's just an oversight. I don't think that's a copy protection issue or a rights issue. I think it's just a dumb issue. They don't, they're using Flash, for instance. I'm so glad Flash is dying.
Okay.
Are you a ham, Richard?
Huh?
Are you a ham?
No, I started out doing that a long time ago. I never really continued it.
The chat room says you have the classic 2-meter cadence.
I've spoken. I've made a lot of phone calls on the radio. Not recently. This is the first one I've made in a number of years.
Well, we welcome you. We hope you call back. And I think you ask a very legitimate issue. And I remember exactly when this came up on the Kindle. And they had to back down. Amazon had to back down on that, and that's a shame. Somebody's asking, isn't that against the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act? I don't know. That's a good question. I think if it were by now, it would have been overturned. I think it's greed is what it is, and as usual, it's inappropriate greed. I talk to authors, recording artists, creatives of all stripes all the time, and the digitally literate ones get it. Share your stuff. Let it go. Many authors that I know give their stuff away. We were talking to Scott Sigler, Cory Doctorow. They give their stuff away, and then give people the right to buy it, and they sell more, not less. Try it, folks. It works. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah. That's the Floyd. The Pink Floyd. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Phone number is 88-ASK-LEO. 888-827-5536. You can also visit our chat room. Always a lot of fun in there. I don't know how many people in there now. Let me check. All you have to do is go to the website, techguylabs.com. 873 people. We'll get to 9,000. I mean, we might get to 9,000 someday. We'll get to 1,000. Actually, we cut it off at 1,000. We split it off into a new room. Vic G in the chat room says, when I ask how many people are in there, he said, all of us. We're all in here. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Barbara in San Diego, you're next. Thanks for your patience. Hi, Barbara.
How are you, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
Great, just great. Before I ask my question, I want to thank you for recommending carbonite. It saved years of genealogy research from going away.
Aren't you glad you were backing up?
Oh, my gosh.
What happened?
Amazing. Well, I was changing computers, and somehow, obviously operator error, I was changing computers, and somehow I had it backed up on the old computer, and when I started transferring over, my hard drive crashed. And so it was amazing. And so when I got
That's not user error. That's hard drive error. Don't blame yourself on that one.
Well, I thought maybe I did something during the transfer process.
You know, I used to say this on the old TV show I used to call for help. My slogan was, it's not your fault. I think people often blame themselves with computers. And you shouldn't blame yourself ever, because it's always the computer's fault.
Okay, I like that.
Even if it was your mistake, if the computer made it possible to do it, it made it too easy to do it, then it's its fault still. And it's really not the fault of a piece of hardware. It's the fault of the computer designers, who are all engineers and understand this stuff, right? And so they figure, well, I can understand it. It makes perfect sense to me. So any normal human or Klingon should be able to understand this. I don't understand. And as a result, normal humans do things that seem normal and delete your data or expose you to a virus, and it's not our fault. So I'm going to resurrect that. It's not your fault, Barbara.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Now, on to my question.
Yes.
I was listening to a lot of things you had to say on the Kindle Fire, and I bought one. And I really didn't want the map because I'm out and about, and I don't need all that stuff. But every now and then, if I'm traveling, I'd like to be able to access my email, which I can now with the Kindle Fire. And the only thing that's different is I have to do it wherever there's wireless.
You have to have Wi-Fi, right, because there's no 3G on it. Yeah.
Well, is it possible to tether my BlackBerry to...
It is not possible to tether, but it is possible to hotspot. So newer BlackBerries and other smartphones, you can use them as a Wi-Fi access point through something called hotspotting. Now, this, of course, requires a cooperation of your wireless carrier, and usually there's an additional fee, usually not much, maybe $20 a month. And what happens is you turn your phone on and you go into the settings and you say, turn me into a Wi-Fi access point, a hotspot. And so then the 3G connection on the phone becomes suddenly visible to the Kindle, and you sign into it. And yes, now you're getting your email in the middle of nowhere because your phone is doing the internet access.
I love it.
It's great, and most modern phones will do that. Most carriers allow it. Not all BlackBerries, and I'm not sure. You should check with your carrier or your go to the phone store and say, I want a hotspot. Can I do a hotspot? And if you can with that phone, they'll let you know.
Amazing. Okay.
Isn't that great?
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. So how do you like the Fire, actually? I'm glad to get you on.
You know what? I really like it. I had the other Kindle, the 3G wireless, and I liked it a lot. Great for reading.
Me too.
But I really wanted to be able to access other things, books and movies while I'm traveling.
Yeah.
And have the color movies, of course, TV shows and all that. But I also wanted to be able to get online periodically.
Right.
So it really, to me, it's just a wonderful thing. And I didn't think I'd like the touch screen so much, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. I mean, the resolution is fine.
I agree.
And I haven't used the iPad, so I don't know how fast it is. But, you know, for what I'm doing, this is awesome.
It's fast. It's just as fast as an iPad. Well, almost 99.9% as fast as an iPad. If I say it's exactly as fast, somebody will call up and say, well, actually, no, Leo, I've tested it. It's not. But it's certainly fine. And I like a lot of features of it. And this is the first edition. There's some things that may be a little bit aggravating. It doesn't bother me, but some people, the way they hold it, they keep hitting the power button because it's right on the bottom there. I don't hold it that way. So, in fact, I have a case that I would recommend to you. Marware makes a case. I think they call it the Executive on Amazon. That makes a very nice little stand. It's a great case. It looks like one of those Moleskine notebooks, you know, with a rubber band around it. Very secure. And just a great case for watching movies because you can set it up so that you can tilt it and have the movie at the right angle. So, and that's something I bought with my Fire that I like a lot. It's called the Marware Executive case.
Okay, I don't know if mine says ejected, but I did buy the Marware.
Oh, that's probably it then.
The best option, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I will never buy a piece of technology without listening to you first.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara. I'm flattered.
Awesome.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. I try to represent, it's hard sometimes when you're in the tech industry for years and you become like those engineers, or how come people can't understand it? It's so simple. You just swipe, you do the little circle swipe switch tap and it works. And so it's hard sometimes to stay in the beginner mind, but I try because I think that my job is, I think plenty of people represent the technology industry. They've got paid flacks to represent them. We need somebody to represent us as users. So I try to stay in the user mindset and use these things when they come out, like the Kindle Fire, as a user would. And I think perhaps a lot of, tech people who are kind of snobby and have been using the iPad, and they just, well, it's nice, but there's some feature. Why would they put a on-off switch on the bottom? I'll mention that. I think it's important because sometimes it depends on how you hold it. You might actually turn it on and off by accident. It doesn't bother me because I hold it from the side, and I think most people probably will. I think this is for $200. If you're the kind of person that wants to watch some movies, some TV, do a little light computing, light email. It's great for audiobooks. I have my Audible account on here. It's, of course, a wonderful portal to Amazon. Maybe that's not such a good thing. Great for reading books. I should have asked, Barbara, I don't know how some people feel about this. A lot of people are fans of the e-ink readers on the original Kindles because they're so crisp and they work in bright light very well. In fact, they work better in bright light. You have to light them. This is more like a computer screen. It's backlit. You don't need to light it. It won't work as well in bright sun, but it's great for reading, and I like it for reading in bed because I don't have to put a light on. I can actually get the light from it. It's plenty. Some people say their eyes fatigue faster with a backlit screen than with the e-ink screen, so that's something to consider if you're a Kindle fan. It isn't the same as an e-ink screen. It's just like a computer screen. It's a backlit LCD screen, but I think quite a good one. 8888 Ask Leo. I hope I'm giving you information that's useful to you. And if you say, Leo, you're just getting to be like one of those engineers, you call me and set me straight. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Stream. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to the phones we go. Dan in Seattle. Hey, Dan, Leo Laporte here.
Leo.
Dan.
Leo. It's so great to talk to you. Been watching you and listening for so many years.
Okay. Thanks for calling. Nice to talk to you.
My question involves cutting the cord. I am finally, my cable is driving me crazy, and I want to get off of it. So I want to go to just enjoying over-the-air TV.
Yes, you're sick to death of it.
I am, but there's
you're a reverse cord cutter.
Yes, I am.
Because well, I guess that's cord cutting though. If you use it.
Actually, yeah, I just want to switch cords. I want a different cord.
That's right. You're not cutting. You're switching. Because the traditional definition of cord cutter would be somebody who doesn't use cable and probably doesn't go get over the air. I guess over the air would be okay because that's no cord. It's just through an antenna, and then you supplement with Netflix and internet, Hulu Plus, internet access.
Yes, that is now my mission.
Yeah.
But there's one thing my cable has that I love that I'm afraid to part with, and that is my beloved DVR. So my question is
we get this more and more. You want an over-the-air DVR.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And they have those.
They do. It's funny. They used to have a lot of them. But, of course, that's all been replaced by cable and satellite DVRs. TiVos used to be originally over-the-air. The ones that remain are called Channel Masters.
I saw one of those today, and I held off on buying it because I really wanted to shop around. I actually wanted to talk to you first.
I'm looking at the reviews. I don't use one, but I'm looking at the reviews, and they're mixed. I don't blame you. This is Amazon, the CM7000. Now, this is the PAL version, the European version, so these are European reviews. Maybe I should go back and find one that isn't European, but very mixed. Not there's 57 5 stars, 31 4 stars, 10 3 stars, 13 2 stars, but there are 23 1-star reviews. So this is how I decide on something like this. I go and I read the reviews on Amazon. They're usually quite good.
It's funny. That's exactly what I did standing in the store.
And that's when you chickened out.
I did. I migrate to the worst reviews first.
Right.
Because I go, okay, how bad can this be? And there were a couple of issues with it, like the reviews claim you can't record shows by name. You have to record it by time period.
Right.
And if I wanted
that's a channel guide issue, and
yes.
I guess that most of the channel guides have kind of disappeared. Does anybody use the channel master in the chat room, and do they have any channel guide capabilities? Because that would be the question. If you because otherwise you're exactly right. You'd have to somehow figure out when a show was on and then record it by hand.
I was at a thrift store, and they had a TiVo for $30. Now, can any DVR that I find anywhere work with over-the-air signals, or are there some that are like only for satellite?
That's the question. If it's a TiVo Series 1, you're probably okay. You might have to get a tuner box on it, but I think you'd be all right.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, it's not okay. So that's the DTV PAL. It's not PAL as in PAL, European PAL standard. That's just the name of it. Okay. So it isn't a European PAL channel master. It's the C7000 PAL is the name of it. Okay. Confusing.
That's exactly the one I saw at the store.
Yeah, that's I think the only one left. Now, I think this $30 TiVo is interesting. I think here's what I would do. I'll tell you who the TiVo experts are. They're down in L.A. They're called Weak Knees. WeakNees.com. They will. You could tell. I would tell them the model number of the TiVo, and they'll tell you a couple of things. First of all, and most importantly, can you upgrade the hard drive? And they do upgrades of hard drives. They put bigger hard drives in. They will sell you a kit you could do yourself. That's how I did it. And that you're probably going to want to do if it's an older TiVo because it won't have the capacity that you want. And then how do I record over-the-air signals? And they'll know that. I think most TiVos do work with OTA. The issue you're going to have is if it's an older TiVo, it won't have the digital tuner that you need because, all the channels went digital a couple years ago. But you can get a digital converter box if that's the case. So Channel Master is one. If you could find a TiVo that works with the over-the-air signals, not designed, in other words, not designed for a cable box or a dish satellite box, another good choice. And a great company, Weak Knees. The reason I recommend them is I wrote a book on the Series 1 TiVo and how to hack it and all that stuff. That was in the golden days when you could hack it and put drives in and do all sorts of stuff to it. And they were my technical consultants on that, and they were fantastic. Highly recommend them. 8888 Ask Leo. Kyle in Simi Valley, I think you're next. Hi, Kyle. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
I was wondering, I'm looking for an e-reader for school, and therefore I'm not allowed to get a tablet because they consider it a gaming device. I was looking at the Nook Simple Touch and then the Kindle Touch.
I do not like the Kindle Touch, and I've talked to some people who don't, and I don't think you need it. I would get the $70 cheap Kindle.
Okay,
but $80.
What about the Nook Simple Touch?
I'm a Kindle fan. I think the Amazon library is the best, and I just think Amazon's is going to be around. I don't know. Is Barnes & Noble going to be around next year? I don't know. I'm not convinced. However, I'm pretty sure Amazon's going to be around as long as you and I are around, Kyle. And you're going to be around a lot longer than I am. So right. I think I would go with the Amazon. It's $80. It's great. It's small. One thing I like about it being so inexpensive, Kyle, is if you throw that in your backpack, within 6 months, you're probably going to break that screen. Those screens are very delicate, and having it be cheap is nice because then you can get another one.
Thank you.
So that would be my strong recommendation. Interesting, the school won't let him buy a tablet because he'll play games. That's true. I mean, it's true you can play games. I don't know what Kyle's going to do. I have a little debate with my kids' high school about what you should let kids do in school. It's my feeling by the time you're in high school, what the kids need to learn is how to live in a world where these distractions exist and not fall prey to them, not attempt to block these. Because guess what? I bet you Kyle has an iPhone that he can play games on and get to Facebook and Twitter on. And if he doesn't, I bet his best buddy does. There's plenty of smart. Are they going to ban? What are they going to? I mean, you can block this stuff. You can say, well, don't buy a tablet. Are you going to say don't have a phone? No, they can't say that because the parents get mad because if they don't have a phone, they don't know when to pick them up after sports. So, in my opinion, you're fighting a rearguard action. And isn't it better anyway to teach the kids how to deal with the distractions than to say no distractions allowed? That just defers the problem till the first year of college when all of a sudden they're going to have all this stuff around them, and then they won't have had any training or experience in how to deal with it. High school's the time. High school's the time to work with kids about how to deal with distractions. You can't eliminate distractions. Teach them how to deal with it. Don't say, oh, no, you can't have a tablet. You have to have an e-ink reader because you would find yourself playing games. Well, you know, you got to learn them. And they got to learn themselves. Nancy, Huntington Beach, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, I'm not a very big tech girl.
Well, hang on, because I hear the magic sound saying I got to take a break. You are going to be next right after this break. Can you hold on?
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Is that the Beach Boys?
The Ramones.
The Ramones. Close. If you enjoy the music you hear on this show, you can thank Kyle Benham, my musical director and board op. And Kyle posts a list to all the songs that he plays during the show on his Google Plus account, Kyle Benham, B-E-N-H-A-M. But you can also get it on our website, techguylabs.com. James DeRuvo right now writing everything down. At the end of the show, he'll put that link in as well. He actually, Kyle makes a Spotify playlist out of it. So if you have a Spotify account, it's easy. You can listen to all the songs. Does sound a little bit like the Beach Boys. It's funny. The Ramones were so shocking when they came out, so rock and roll, and now they sound very mainstream. Nancy, Huntington Beach, California. Thank you for your patience, Nancy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Thank you. When I open up an email that has an internet link to a website or to a YouTube thing, my computer always used to go to Internet Explorer, which is my choice of exploring the internet. But a couple of weeks ago, I started clicking on those links, and they went straight to Google Chrome.
You must have installed Chrome and made it your default browser.
I did. I certainly didn't do it intentionally, but I assume that it got there somehow by opening something. But in searching the internet for remedies, I saw that if you tried to uninstall it and go back to Internet Explorer, that the links don't work. There's all sorts of trouble. Google's not addressing it.
You don't need to uninstall it. I would keep it around. It's fine to have it, and it's easy to change it back to make it be Internet Explorer. So first of all, I need to know what version of Windows you're running.
I'm running XP.
Okay. So it's a little complicated. They didn't make it terribly easy, but they made it possible. You're going to, in the control panel, there's an Internet Options control panel. I can tell you're getting a piece of paper here to write it down. We will put this. We will also put this in the show notes, so you can go to the web and you'll have to go in Chrome one last time and see it. It's what it is. What it has to do with is there's a database that Windows keeps of what they call file associations. And in the database, it says when Nancy opens a doc file, .doc file, when she double-clicks that, what she really wants to do is open Microsoft Word and then open that doc file inside Word. It's a file association database. And interestingly, it also has associations for when you click a link. When you click a link on a web page, Windows says, okay, well, she wants to open a link. Let me check and see in my file association database what program she wants to use to open web links. And it says Chrome right there, and it opens Chrome. Now, that's not what you want. So you need to change the entry to go back to Internet Explorer. So here's the steps. So you're going to go to the Internet Options Control Panel, and you're going to click the Programs tab. And there is a checkbox there that says Internet Explorer should check to see whether it's the default browser. And if you check that box, then close Internet Explorer and reopen it. Internet Explorer will say, oh, hold on, wait a minute. I see that somebody has made Chrome the default browser. Default browser means what do you open when you click a link? I want to be the default browser. And you say, yes, Internet Explorer, you are the default browser, and it'll be all right.
Okay.
It's not that complicated. It's nice to have Chrome around. You'll notice that the two will fight. Whenever you launch Chrome, Chrome will say, hey, I'm not the default browser. And is somebody else using your computer? Is that Nancy, or is it just you?
It's just me. So something must have gone through and asked me, and I didn't.
Yeah, at one point what happened, you installed Chrome, right?
I didn't mean to install Chrome ever.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's why I'm thinking maybe somebody else used your computer.
I'm not the only one, because if you look online, there's a lot of people that sound smarter with computers than me that are having this trouble. And when I did call Microsoft Help, and they wanted to charge me $39 an hour.
For what I just told you.
That's right. And he actually had me go through a bunch of steps that, of course, failed. And then he said, well, for $39 an hour, I can help you further.
Really?
Yes. There's the internet. There's all sorts of people that are having this problem, and they're asking Google for answers and Microsoft and having all sorts of problems. But I just tried it right now, doing what you said, and I just clicked a link, and I am back with good old-fashioned Internet Explorer.
That'll be $39, Nancy. You can remit it to... No, I'm just kidding. You'd probably be glad to pay it, actually. So somebody... there's there are Get Chrome buttons on the Google site. Somebody somewhere downloaded, you probably, if nobody else uses your computer, downloaded Chrome. Yeah. Well, the first time you launch it, by the way, the next time you launch Chrome, you'll see this box again. It'll say, Chrome is not the default browser. Would you like me to be? But you'll see underneath there another box that says, do not ask this question again. So what you want to do, if you want to keep it to be Internet Explorer, is you say, no, Chrome, I don't want you to be the default browser, and don't ask me again.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Nancy. I'm glad that worked. So it's just, you have default programs for a lot of things, for opening doc files, for clicking links, for sending email. And those are just kept in a database, and it's really just a question of changing that database. Sometimes it's more complicated than this. If you, for instance, wanted doc files to be opened by a different program than Microsoft Word, you'd have to go through some extra steps. But that's all that's going on. It's just, Windows doesn't know what to do. It's not built in. It's a setting. It's a little annoying that Microsoft washed her through all sorts of things, and it was this simple. Sometimes you get people who, I don't know, don't understand the question. I don't know. Calm. Chris in San Diego, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Leo, longtime fan.
Thank you.
Listen, I got my first smartphone, kind of stepped up from the old flip phones. And we got a really good deal at Costco. It was $29 for 2 Galaxy S telephones.
Wow.
But it's pretty good,
That's a great deal.
But for 2 weeks now, we've had them, and we're just coming across various issues. Like sometimes the password thing, when you do the little finger thing to unlock your phone, will freeze up. So
this is an Android issue. And the newer Android phones are much better than this. The reason you got that Galaxy S is because this is why you get a good deal at Costco. It's the previous version. The new one is the Galaxy S2. And it has faster processors. It has a newer operating system. What version of Android is on there? Is it 2.2 or 2.3?
Good question.
Yeah, find out. See if there's an update. Who's your carrier?
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. See if there's an update, because this is an Android problem. It did happen an awful lot. It was one of the big problems I had with Android in general was it tended to pause. and become unresponsive, sometimes for a long time, and especially on that unlock thing. Or worse, it would it's very annoying. Or would it crash? Sometimes it crashes in the middle of a call. Not good.
Yeah, that's what happened with my wife's phone.
Yeah.
It just drops off.
Yeah. So really the problem is an older version of the operating system and an older phone. I think what I would do, and this is going to... How geeky are you, Chris?
I could figure things out.
I would root it and put CyanogenMod, put an updated operating system on it, and I think you'd be much more effective. Let me talk about how you do that when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. It's time to talk about tech, computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, and all that jazz. Last hour of the Tech Guy Show. We were talking with Chris in San Diego, and it's kind of like somebody calling up saying, I have a headache, and I'm recommending brain surgery, Chris. You understand that?
I was getting ready to turn these phones in, you know. It's frustrating.
Well, I actually like the Galaxy S. I think it's a great phone. I like it a lot. And until I got the Galaxy S2, which is an even better phone. Yeah. I use the Galaxy S2 on T-Mobile and very, very happy with it.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's Froyo on there or Gingerbread. That is 2.2 or 2.3. 2.3 would be a big improvement. So you can quickly see by going to Settings on the phone. And at the very bottom of the phone, if you scroll all the way down in the settings, you'll see About Phone. And it'll tell you their Android version. For instance, this Galaxy S2 is 2.3.4. There are more recent versions. Is yours 2.2?
It probably is. I mean, I could look at the phone. I'm on it right now.
Yeah. You're on it right now. It sounds good. They're great phones, but I have to say Android is maybe not the most reliable operating system. And earlier versions of Android and earlier hardware, and it's both hardware and software related, had these issues. Like the one that I found most annoying is the one you discovered, which is when you have the phone lock. I think it's the phone's getting busy. You can't unlock it. It's like it's not responsive. The screen gets unresponsive.
Right, exactly.
And then the other problem I had with older Android phones was it crashes when I'm on the phone. Now, sometimes that's the apps you put on. So this is one of the issues in the Android marketplace in general is it's possible to put third-party apps on here or widgets. In particular, widgets can really be a problem on the screen that use...
I'm sorry. The phones came preloaded with a gazillion apps, right?
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
I talked to the guy at the store. He's like, well, if you delete them, you void your warranty on the phone.
That's BS. That's wrong. So here's what I would recommend. I mean, it depends on how you feel about it. If you're at the point where I want to return it, you probably shouldn't do this. If you're willing to do a little bit of geeking around with this, and it's not too hard, and it's not risky, you probably would want to try this. But again, if you think I'm going to turn these in and get a newer phone, then don't do this because you do want it to look like it's supposed to look when you get it back.
I know, yeah. No, I love playing around with this kind of stuff.
I think this is fun. So there is a website, xdadevelopers.com. It's xda-developers.com that is all about hacking Android phones. By the way, this is not only legal, it's highly encouraged by Google and by most Android handset manufacturers. Most, but not all. The Samsung folks love it. In fact, Samsung hired one of the chief hackers to work for them. So Samsung does not mind if you do this. So if you go to xda-developers.com, it's a forum for people who want to hack their Android phones. Again, folks, if you're listening, this is brain surgery to fix a headache. It's not something I'm necessarily recommending. It's just kind of, this is for geeks who like to mess around with stuff. XDA developers will have every Android phone in there, and what they'll tell you is how to root it. Now, the Samsung Galaxy S is easily rooted. That's the first thing you have to do. All rooting does is give you full permissions. So you have limited user permissions on any Android phone right now, but acquiring root permissions means you can do a lot more on that phone. It does not void the warranty. It's not illegal, and in fact, it's pretty much indetectable unless the phone guy is pretty sophisticated. But what it does is then it lets you do things with the phone you can't do otherwise. For instance, there's a great backup program I strongly encourage you to get called Titanium Backup that can only work when it's rooted because it needs access to all the system files. So try Titanium Backup. That'll and use that to back up your phone before you do any of this, because that will let you get back to the original phone.
Oh, okay.
And then, secondarily, you're going to want to get something called ROM Manager. This is
like read-only memory?
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing that allows you to, it's so cool, first make a modification for the phone so you can restore it to its original condition, so there's little risk involved, and then lets you choose different firmwares for it. They call them mods. And so there are a number of different, some of them are more up-to-date. They use Gingerbread, because this is an open-source project, right? So everybody has access to the source code. In fact, I expect that soon you'll be able to get Ice Cream Sandwich on your Android phone, because Google's just open-sourced that this week. So that's the very, very, very latest version. But the only way you'll be able to get it on a Galaxy S, is my prediction, is by doing it yourself, because the carriers don't like to pay for the upgrades. They have to pay for the upgrades.
Oh, okay. So this phone, though, with the single processor, is capable,
I think,
it's like when you have an old computer.
Yeah, I think, yes. I think if you put Cyanogen Mod 7 on it, it would fix that problem.
Which one is Cyanogen?
That's CM7, they sometimes call it. That's the most popular firmware for the Android phone. And make sure when you install it, and do it with ROM Manager, please, because it's the simplest, easiest way, and it's easy to undo it, and you can update it, and you could try other, by the way, easy to try other ROMs. Just use Titanium Backup to back up your apps first, then do it. CM7 is usually, I think it's Gingerbread. It'll be 2.3.5 probably, so it'll be more up to date. Make sure you check the box that says, and download the Google apps. Yes, you want the Google apps. That's the Maps app. That's the Marketplace. That's all the stuff that lets you do stuff. So get the Google apps, and then play with it. And if it doesn't fix the problem, then restore the phone to the way it was and bring it back.
I'll definitely check into it.
It's, you know what, your enthusiasm for this encourages me. It means you are a little bit of a hacker, a little bit of a geek. I wouldn't recommend this for most people, because you can make a mess of it. Frankly, you can ruin your phone. I don't want you to ruin your phone. You won't. It's not that risky, and if you know what you're doing, it's not. But you have to have a little, chutzpah. On the other hand, if you have an older phone and you're having problems with Android like that, and you don't want to return it, you want to keep it going, this is a great idea, and it really does make a difference. It does make a difference. So the main thing you need to know is this website, which will tell you all you need to know, XDA Developers. That's xda-developers.com. Just search for your device, go to the forums, and all the information you need. It's geeks writing it, so you might have to parse through some strange stuff, but you'll be able to figure it out. Sarah in Woodland Hills, California. Hi, Sarah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. First, I want to say I love Carbonite, and the thing I love most about it is the application for my iPhone, and that I can access any document on my home computer. It's fantastic.
I don't mention that enough. I really should. It really is.
Oh.
It's cloud storage. It's nice.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can have Carbonite send my check for advertising, too. I have a question. Every time I boot up my computer, it's an HP, I get this window that wants me to allow Blitware File Helper to come onto my computer, and I'm just really nervous about letting that happen because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it does.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm trying to figure out if this is something HP put on there, and I know what Blitware is. I suspect HP puts it on there. So here's what happens with these companies. They don't make enough money selling you PCs because the prices are so low. So they put trial sample software on here, tons of it. You probably noticed that, didn't you?
Yeah, but I've had the computer for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Well,
and,
I don't like Blitware. I would take it off. But you don't need it. The question is, did HP put this on? They probably did. Let me look into it, and we're going to take a break. When we come back, I will tell you how to remove this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, The Tech High. 8880. I like that. So we were talking to poor Sarah in Woodland Hills. She's got an HP computer, and HP is one of the, I would say, one of the worst in loading up computers with trialware. There's actually a not polite term for trialware that I won't use. But we'll call it trialware. And they make money doing this, you know, that all those, you know, McAfee antivirus trials and all the things that come on there, they pay them $10 or whatever so that HP will put it on there. And given that the computer was so inexpensive, HP's just trying to make a buck. So it's my belief that this, now it's possible, but Blitware is a legitimate company, and that this Blitware program was put there by HP, legitimately. It is, of course, always possible for a virus to pose as a legitimate company. So, you know, but no virus says, can you start me up? That's Blitware. So
well, Leo, I'm looking I'm on the control panel under my programs, and it lists File Helper 2.5.4.1 that was installed on July 3rd of this year.
Oh, so it wasn't HP. You or somebody using your computer. What happened is you tried to open a file that the computer didn't have.
Okay.
And somewhere, maybe HP did do this, there's a little button on there that says, well, would you like to download File Helper to tell you how to figure out how to open that file? Or somebody went online and found it and installed it. Because that's what File Helper does.
It would only be me. So can I uninstall it?
Yeah, just go to, add remove programs. And it does nothing of importance.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I have the prompt of removing File Helper and all of its components, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything important.
Okay.
In fact, it just it's quite annoying. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate the call.
You.
Take care. Margie in Torrance, California. Hi, Margie. Leo. Oh, I want Margie to review the Channel Master. You have a Channel Master.
I've had one for 13 months.
All right. Are you a cord cutter, Margie?
I'm sorry, what?
A cord cutter? Do you know what that is?
No.
Somebody doesn't want to pay $150 a month to a cable company.
I never bought into the cord.
Right on. You're a original cord cutter.
Yeah, and at $20 a month, we weren't watching enough movies to justify the expense, so I've never had cable.
I can tell how long it's been because you think cable's $20 a month.
I know what it is.
It's a little more than that now, Margie.
Yeah. So, yeah, we broke down and got a Channel Master 13 months ago. It's the CM7000 PAL, and we got it from Crutchfield. And we're not techies by any stretch of the imagination. We have a computer, and we fare pretty well. And we've had good support from both Crutchfield and Channel Master. Overall, we're happy with it.
Good.
We lovingly refer to the glitches as "Don't you love government TV?"
So it's able now. So one of the concerns that our caller had was that there was no program guide. You just had to know when your show was on. By the way, that's how
I understand that comment. There is definitely a program
Okay,
guide.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's by programs. It's what is it? Something. When we first got it, we thought, oh, I wish we could do this, and now I can't remember what that was. But no, the TV shows are there by the time, by the day of the week.
Great.
But now recently, we somehow blew out the program information, the descriptions, everything, every show that comes up, it says no information available, and everything, and my husband's going, what the hell? So he did some research online, and he took my laptop and plugged it into the Channel Master and got some kind of update, and all the...
I think that's what happened. So the program guides companies are going out of business is what's happening.
Really?
Yeah. And you don't pay a monthly fee for that program guide, do you?
We paid $350 13 months ago, and I think he saw it on at Channel Master for it's down to $320 now. So I think the one-time expense far is a walk away from a monthly payment.
I agree.
So over the 13 months, have had to reboot, I'd say maybe a dozen times. Just funky stuff happens. But as soon as we reboot, everything's fine.
Well, thank you, Margie, for the unsolicited review of the Channel Master 7000 PAL.
We're pretty happy. The only other funky thing, too, is every night around 8:30 or 9, and then again at 9:30 or 10, we get an error message called A652, and it says the IT software update, something about...
That's the channel guide again. It's trying to get the channel guide. That's exactly that, yeah.
Try again later, but we have it set up to get that stuff at like 1 or 2 in the morning, so we don't know why we get that. We have not figured that out, but as soon as you either let it go away on its own or you hit select, it goes away, and then it doesn't interrupt your TV, except it's just a window that pops up in the middle of your show. And that's the only thing we haven't been able to figure out, but it does what we want it to do.
Very
which
good.
is tape the shows.
Yes, and you're not paying for cable.
And we have an antenna. We're not paying for cable. So, yeah, we're real happy with it overall.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. And you know, listen, this is technology. There's always little glitches like that.
That's right.
We just have to live with them.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Margie, for filling us in. I appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, still on available on Amazon. Not very expensive, a couple $100. It's a DVR. We were talking about this because cord cutters have a problem. They don't have a cable company or a satellite dish company with a program guide and a DVR. So they need a digital video recorder, a TiVo, that will get over-the-air signals. And, you know, it's very helpful if you have a program guide that works. The problem is that a lot of these program guide companies are kind of disappearing. So, and I think that's where most of these glitches Margie was suffering were coming from, actually. I think we have time for another before the bottom of the hour break. David's in Los Angeles. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, David.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
I am well, sir. Thank you.
So I had a question about getting, when I record a bunch of stuff on my DVR, you know, and I like to watch things at the gym on my iPad, and I just spend a fortune on iTunes. Is there a way to anything where I have a DirecTV with like an HD DVR and receiver. Is there a way to grab digitize any of those files and put them on my iPad?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know it's on a hard drive in that DVR, and boy, it's already digital. Wouldn't it be nice to put it on my iPad? But the problem is the companies that make these make deals with the content creators to make that difficult for you to do. TiVo has a TiVo to go feature that will kind of let you do this within limits. In the old days, I was mentioning earlier, I wrote a book on the Series 1 TiVo, and this technique was called digital video extraction. And you could do it on the old ones, but TiVo caught on, or probably more likely, the networks caught on and told TiVo, you got to encrypt that stuff so people can't pull it off. So they made it more and more difficult to just take stuff off the hard drive and put it on your computer, encode it for the iPad, which you'd undoubtedly have to do because it'd have to be in a format the iPad can handle, and then watch it. But there are still ways and ways. If you have TiVo to go, that might be a way to do it. DirecTV also has a device called the Nomad, I'm told by Ray, that allows recordings to go to the iPad. So it just depends on what you have. Worst case scenario, you could use something we call the analog hole. And I think you were kind of hinting about that. A DVR to work has to be able to play to a TV. It has to be able to hook up to a TV. So you could take that output from the DVR, the analog output, capture it with a digital analog video converter, and turn it into bits on your hard drive. Best one for that is from Grass Valley, the ADVC. I love that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And David in Los Angeles. I guess we kind of handled it. I kind of ran out of time, David, so let me just say it one more time. You have various ways to get it digitally. But failing that, you're going to do the analog hole method, where you take the composite out, or it's the component, if you can get it out, and put it through a box that turns it into bits. And the one I recommend is from Grass Valley. It's the ADVC, and they have the 55, the 110, and on up. Now, the only negative on that is it's FireWire out. You do want a high-speed out. USB's not fast enough. You'll have to compress the video heavily if you use USB. So you do want FireWire out, but most PCs and many of the newer Macs don't have FireWire. In that case, you'll need to get a FireWire card for your PC. Jeff, Calabasas, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling.
Both me and my wife need to upgrade from our old phones to smartphones. Basically, we want really good reception. We want to be able to search the web, check my email, possibly Skype, and I need a screen, though, that has really good clarity outdoors, because most of my work is outdoors. And we're with AT&T right now. I'm not in love with AT&T, but we're not under contract. What would you recommend in the smartphone?
So there are a bunch of good smartphones, either on AT&T or other carriers, so that's not really the issue. In fact, usually when people ask me about smartphones, they're asking about different operating systems. The three big choices are Android, of course, from Google, iOS, the iPhone operating system, and Windows Phone 7, which is coming on strong. I guess I'd have to include BlackBerry in that as well. The issue, though, you're first looking for the best possible screen.
Right.
I am a big fan of, and it does pretty well in daylight. A lot of these screens don't do well at all in daylight. But I'm a big fan of the Galaxy S2 line of screens and phones. They're Super AMOLED, which I think it gives you a very good screen in the indoors and a pretty darn good screen outdoors. And I'm just not sure it's going to be good enough for you. So, Jeff, you probably should go to a store where they have one and take it outside and see what you think.
Right. Normally, though, they don't have those phones on to where you can actually...
I know. It's very frustrating. Maybe go walk around downtown and say, look for people with phones and say, hey, can I look at your phone? I think, frankly, that the Galaxy S2 is going to be the best for you. The good news is all the carriers have versions of it. The one I have is from T-Mobile. No, I'm sorry. This is Sprint, and it's called they don't call it a Galaxy S2. They're the only one that doesn't call it a Galaxy S2. They call it an Epic Touch 4G. And I really like it. Now, it's an Android phone. It's not an iPhone. iPhones do all right in bright daylight, but I think these Super AMOLED screens actually do a little bit better in bright daylight. So that would probably, and they're bigger, which helps also. The Sprint one is more than 4.5 inches, 4.65 inches. The rest of them are either 4.3 or 4.5. AT&T calls it.
With bad eyesight anyway.
Yeah, I like a bigger screen myself. If you want to go to Verizon, you might also look at the Razr. That's supposed to have a very good screen. And at some point, we're going to see the Galaxy Nexus, which should also have a Super AMOLED screen. But right now, I think the best screens on the market today, in terms of brightness and ease of use in daylight, are these Galaxy S2 phones. Okay? Guess we lost him. But that's my answer. And I'm very happy with these. I have an iPhone. The iPhone is a better resolution. It's high resolution, so it's very crisp. But it's not. I don't think the color is as good, and I don't think the daylight performance is as good. Jeffy has an Epic 4G Touch as well on Sprint. I think these are really nice phones. Greg in Monrovia, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing?
Well, I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good. I just had a very simple question for you about wireless routers. I just recently went from a pretty crappy, I think it was like a 50 kilobytes a second DSL to about maybe an average of 20 megabytes a second on cable.
Yay.
And yeah, awesome, huh?
Yay.
And it's making me look into a new wireless router. I have an old, I think when the Cisco and I think Linksys first got together, I have one of those, and I was looking at the Airport Extreme. And I was wondering, do you have any recommendations on what's a pretty good premium router? Basically, I'm just using my iPhone, PlayStation 3, and then any web development work.
Are you a Mac user at home?
I am indeed.
Okay. Yeah, the Airport, of course, is Apple's very good Wi-Fi router, but for some reason, unaccountably, I guess as with everything Apple makes, about twice as expensive as everybody else's. And they use the same chipsets. The advantage, though, of the Airport Extreme is if you're in an all-Mac environment, is there's some nice features that work with Macs. Things like you can plug in a hard drive via the USB in the Airport Extreme, and suddenly you've got a network-attached hard drive. Things like that do a nice job. If you don't want to get an Apple, you don't want to pay that premium, I'm a D-Link fan. I use a lot of the D-Link routers. I think they're good. But, the truth is all of these, D-Link, Linksys, Netgear, they're really become a commodity product, and by which to say there isn't much, just like pork bellies. There's not much to distinguish them,
Yeah, that makes sense. something sort of universal now, huh?
Yeah, it's so universal. I think they all use pretty much the same chipsets. There's only 2 big chipsets. I just don't see much difference between them. So I know a lot of people hate Linksys's. They're fine, you know. I don't, they're cheap. I would stick with those. The 3 that I like: Netgear, Linksys, and D-Link. And I generally for home I'll buy a D-Link. Although let me tell you, at home I'm using an Apple because I'm a sucker.
Okay, so if I have an Apple environment, may as well just go with the AirPort Extreme.
Yeah, I mean they're really good. They're really good. And Apple updates keeps them up to date. It's the chipset's the same. The firmware is the difference. And if you are on a Mac, it's a little bit easier.
Well, I heard that they didn't have quality of service, QoS. Is that?
They do not. They do not. That can be an issue. I mean, D-Link does do that. The Gamer Gear from D-Link, or Gamer Lounge, I guess they call it, from D-Link, has the ability to prioritize certain packets. That's what QoS means. And sometimes you want that, for instance, if you're using a VoIP a system, a voice over internet system, you'd like to prioritize the voice packets so that they don't get slowed down or clobbered by a game, right? Or maybe you're a gamer and you want to prioritize your game packets because you don't want them to get clobbered in the middle of a game. And that is one thing D-Link does very nicely.
But if I have a 20 meg average, I probably don't have to worry about the bandwidth being allocated differently, though, right?
Well, QoS is not just about bandwidth. It's about packet collisions. It's about more than just how much bandwidth you have. And it is a managed system is always going to perform better at the same bandwidth than an unmanaged system.
Okay.
So.
I had another question also. It's been a while now since I've been out of the IT tech. I've been programming for a while. Is there a benefit over Mac restriction as opposed to like WPK2 or something like that?
There's no point in using MAC address restriction. There's no point in using SSID hiding. There's no point in using anything but WPA2 encryption. It does everything you want. The reason I don't recommend MAC address encryption is because it's very easy to spoof a MAC address, and since every packet that's being sent has the MAC address in it, all a bad guy has to do is sit on your curb, figure out what MAC addresses are allowed by watching the traffic, and then say, I'm that MAC address.
That's true.
Didn't work so good, did it? WPA2, use a strong password. That's all you need.
Okay, perfect. And then for the last call, I think it was Jeff. He was talking about getting a new phone.
Yeah.
I recently did that with my fiance.
We got to run. We're out of time. Hang on. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
At the table, I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey, lurkey, do, and turkey.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's Adam Sandler. If you want to know what songs we played, what songs Kyle Benham played as we came back from every commercial break, just go to our website, techguylabs.com, and shortly after the show's over, we'll put that link up. And, of course, Kyle will post it on his Google Plus blog. What do you call it? I guess it's a blog. Kyle Benham, KYLEBENHAM, my musical director. And real quickly, Greg, before we get to the GizWiz, Dick DiBartolo, you started saying something and I had to cut you off.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, I heard the previous call, I believe it was Jeff. He was mentioning something about trying out different phones and how it's very difficult to.
He wants to see, well, yes, and he wanted to see how they looked in bright sunlight. So how can he do that?
Well, I went to Best Buy. I was going through the same thing. I was trying to figure out, obviously I ended up with an iPhone. I'm biased. But I ended up going through quite a different few Androids, and they have a pretty good return policy where it's within 30 days you can cancel the service, bring it back, no restocking fee, and go try a different service, a different phone, as many times as you need to.
That's a
and
great
you don't have to
point.
pay for restocking
So
or
Best
canceling.
Buy will let you do that. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leo.
Take care. Yeah, I think most carriers have a policy of letting you return a phone if it doesn't work out. Inquire. In some cases, they will charge a restocking fee. You don't want that, obviously. But that's probably the best way. You got to do it anyway because if you're changing carriers, you want to make sure that you'll get a signal in your home and your office and everywhere you go. The only way to do that is to take the phone and use it for a couple of weeks. So I think most carriers are pretty liberal in letting you do that. Dick DiBartolo, Mad Magazine's Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. Mad Magazine's maddest writer and the GizWiz. He does a weekly show called the Weekly Daily GizWiz on the TWiT network in which we talk about gadgets. He's a regular on many shows, including World News Now on ABC. He was for many years the gadget guy on Regis and Kathy Lee. And I know you were there yesterday on Regis's last day.
It was pretty amazing. Everybody was very tearful except Regis.
Yeah, he couldn't wait to get out of there.
Maybe.
I'm out of here. Regis, when he announced his retirement the day I was there a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, and he said to me, it was a great pain to say to me, Leo, I'm not quitting TV. I'm just quitting this show. I think
exactly. And the president of Disney was there, the CEO of Disney, and backstage Leo said,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to leave. And he said, stay through November. And I said, stay through November, what, for November sweeps?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, why else?
Exactly.
Yeah. If you go to my website and click on log and blog, I have some backstage pictures there that I took. But they brought back all the old producers from all the years, and a lot of crying backstage.
I bet.
But of joy, yeah, absolutely.
For those of us who've worked with him, and like you, I've done gadgets with Regis and Kelly. He's the sweetest, nicest guy. And it's always fun.
He's not unlike yourself, except for the sweet and nice part.
and better dressed.
Yes.
So you got a gadget for us, Dickie D?
You know what, Leo? I have such a bare bones gadget. No lights, no batteries, no LED.
What?
I know. It's actually a board game, but I've played it 3 times now with different people, and they love it. It's called Logo.
Okay.
And if you watch television and listen to the radio, you will probably be very good at this. As a matter of fact, Leo, I pulled a card out of Logo. You want to answer a couple of quick Logo questions?
Sure. Yeah, this will go great on the radio. Folks, you'll have to imagine.
Yeah, well, what Japan's highest mountain is also the symbol.
It's a spoken word. You don't have to see a logo.
Oh, no.
Okay.
It's about logos.
Got it.
I mean, there are some picture cards, but this is not one of them.
Okay, Japan's
highest mountain.
Highest mountain.
Also a symbol of a brand of camera equipment and film.
Fuji.
Yes.
Do I have to say what is Fuji?
No. American movie company that has a mountain as its logo.
What is Paramount? I'm practicing for Jeopardy.
He's determined to play Jeopardy logo. This is just plain logo.
No, I just know someday I'm going to be a contestant on Jeopardy. And if I don't answer every question with a question,
okay. No, I'll be.
Right.
Okay. The name of the soda that comes in a green bottle.
What name of a soda that comes in a green bottle? Aren't there a lot? Doctor. It's the doctor. He's a doctor. I can't remember. Not Pepper. Cream soda. Dr. Brown's cream soda? No. Is it 7-Up? Sprite. Doesn't Sprite and 7-Up?
You know what? Actually, the chat room has all 3 of them, but the answer on the card here is Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. All right, I don't drink that. So.
And the last one, I know you're going to get this.
Okay.
German manufacturer
Krups.
of fine pens.
German manufacturer of fine pens. Braunschweig-Tafel sind bum.
You got it. No. Come on, fine pens, writing accessories. You must have 10 of them.
Pentel. No, that's Japanese. German. Pilot? No, that's Japanese. Not Mont Blanc, because that's Swiss.
Yes. No.
Mont Blanc is German because Mont Blanc's in Switzerland.
Name the German manufacturer of fine pen and writing.
Stedler van Havens, sie behaben Daben. All right. Well, there you go. So this game is
Someone
called.
in the chat room said Sharpie.
Sharpie. This game is called Logo.
And Toys R Us, it's under $19.
We got to look up Mont Blanc because I'm pretty sure it's Swiss.
Yeah, you know what? It would be interesting if we found an incorrect
They
card.
say it's German?
That's what the card says. Name the German manufacturer of fine pens and writing accessories. Answer Mont Blanc. Yeah, we may have a lawsuit.
It's of course an Alp mountain. That's why I was just assumed that. Let's see, Mont Blanc pens. Well, I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
So if you go to gizwiz.biz, that's Dick's site, you will see his blog. You will be able to see some great pictures of the Regis farewell. But while you're there, don't forget to also play the What the Heck Is It contest. a chance for you to win a autographed copy of Mad Magazine. Do they have to the end of December to do this?
They do.
Look at this. So the whole audience in the Regis farewell was
a totally invited audience only.
Wow.
I was very flattered that Gelman remembered. I talked about you to Michael Gelman.
Yes, the producer, of course.
Yep.
Yeah. The Amazing Kreskin. Wow, look at this.
Right, the Amazing Kreskin, I wrote under the Amazing Kreskin saying to Regis, "You look familiar. Do I know you?"
He's the only guy still in showbiz as old as Regis, I think.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh.
And that's I got that backstage, probably the closest to Regis crying.
Yeah, he's biting his lip there.
He looks like he's biting his lip.
I actually got in trouble once on Regis and Kelly because, I often bring cameras and I always like to take pictures backstage. Yeah. And, Regis is great. You'll go in his office, take pictures. Kelly's great. Even if she's in the makeup chair, she says, go ahead, take pictures. She's not proud, not shy. But I did take pictures of the two of them right before the show. And it was such a beautiful picture because you tell they had great affection for each other. And they said, we don't want that to share that with the world. So I have to be careful about backstage pictures.
Oh wow!
But
okay.
I mean, they weren't making out. They were just looking. Look, she was adjusting.
I had those shots.
Yeah, she was just adjusting his tie. But I just thought it was so sweet. They really were just wonderful together, and I think he will be very much missed.
I think so too.
And I'm sad because I loved working with him. I love working with Kelly though, so she's still going to be there.
Well, they want you back.
Yes, I know. They were trying to get me for next month, and I'm tied up. I'm too busy. I'd like to do it, but I can't. Dick, we will stick around. Stick around. Don't leave, okay? Don't leave.
Okay.
We're going to do the...
I'll take my hat off. Let me take my hat back off.
Put your hat back on. We'll be doing the weekly Daily Gizwiz in just a moment. I'm out of time. I do thank everybody for being here. The Gizwiz, you'll be back next week with a gadget. I'll be back next show with more talk. And, of course, the website is techguylabs.com. Please join us there for all the show notes. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Another show is in the can.
Good work, Leo.